This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. It's life in football. We are life in football.
You are now listening to the Life in Football podcast. Check out the new website, lifeinfootball.com. Once again, the website is lifeinfootball.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Life in Football podcast, baby. I'm your host, Mike Fee.
And this your coach, Holden Moore. You know we loving life and enjoying football.
We got a legendary player, and I'm talking about legendary for us in the Florida Gators' eyes, the state of Ohio, and just a lockdown corner as well. He goes by the name of Keiwan Ratliff. And I remember him playing at the University of Florida and tearing up the scene. And now he's back at the University of Florida as the director of player personnel. Now, let me give y'all a little breakdown. If you don't know, he was balling out of control, y'all. He had that number 1 jersey on, looking fresh and so clean out there, too. And I'm saying a cornerback that you didn't want to throw his way. Now, they got a lot of legendary cornerbacks out there they'll talk about, but this guy, I feel, is underrated for us in the mentioning of history because he had 9 interceptions one season, 3 interceptions in one game. Every time you look around, he was picking off the ball. And I love how he had that dog in him. He used to talk to the receiver, let him know what time it was. And he coming out of that great state of Ohio and coming straight out of Youngstown, Ohio as well. The home of Maurice Claret and a whole lot of other ballers come to find out that were raised up there, man. So I'm going to go ahead and quit running my mouth and let C-Mo bring him on.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, man, listen, that might have been the best introduction I ever heard right there. He got me ready to play a game.
Hey, look. Hey, that's what we always do. He always come through with it like that, Coach. Hey, it's a blessing to have you on, too, Coach.
Hey, listen, I appreciate y'all bringing me on. Y'all thinking of me to talk about some football.
Yeah, man. And you know, look, we've been wanting to have you on for a minute, and I'm going to go and get right to it. Coach, when did you know what you wanted to do once football was all said and done? Like, did you find out what your passion was and what you was going to do as a career?
Honestly, I'm going to just be all the way real with you. I still don't know. All I do know is that football is going to be connected to my life until the day I'm gone. I was born with the passion and the love for the game, and that's something that'll never die. So as long as I'm able, I'm going to try to give back in some way, form, or fashion to the game.
Now, Coach, with all the information that you have, and I was up on you just checking everything up, it seemed like God just was lining stuff up for you because you came back to get your degree. And then once you got your degree, it seemed like you started working with University of Florida right like a 1 and 2 at the same time.
Honestly, like you said, I've been beyond blessed in my life through football. I mean, I didn't take school as serious as I should have when I was in school the first time, but I was blessed and fortunate enough to get a second chance to go back and get my degree. And as you said, I graduated in August of 2018, and by March of 2019, I was calling my alma mater my place of employment.
Now, Coach, I forgot to mention in the introduction that you played in the NFL as well, but we want to go back to your history and give us some of the insight how it was for you growing up.
Well, growing up, as you said, in Youngstown, Ohio, I mean, it's a rough environment. I mean, you can look it up and do some research on it, and it speaks for itself. But for me as a young kid, I never felt any of that. I never felt like I was going through any poverty. I never felt like life was a struggle because I had loving, caring parents who always made me feel like I had enough. And that right there made me feel like I could do anything. And before I knew how to talk, walk, think on my own or anything, I knew that I loved football. So I gravitated towards that. And that was what kept me off the streets and kept me on the straight path.
Now, Coach, you went into the NFL as a second rounder. How was it for you and your family with achieving that goal of going from the University of Florida into the NFL?
Financially, it was amazing. I mean, taking a kid that was 22 years old from the hood who had never really had much and giving him a chance to be able to help just about everybody that was close to him that he loved. So I got a chance to help my mom. I got a chance to help my little brother. I got a chance to help uncles, cousins. I got a chance to be able to be a rock to some of the people that I grew up with that helped me, whether they knew it or not, whether it was financially, just showing up to a game, emotionally, anything. So that right there was a ease for me. But at the same time, I never reflected on it and took it in for what it was while I was playing, because in my mind, that's what the next step was and it was expected.
Now, Coach, with you showing love to the family and doing everything that you did for them while you was in the league, and now that you're out and you're at University of Florida, it seemed like if I'm there, if I'm a player and I'm there, whether it's wide receiver or DB, running back, I'm beating down your door to figure out, Coach, how do I need to position myself to, first of all, get to the league? But once I'm done with the league, how do I position myself going forward too? Because you've been there, done it all, so at a high level. So how do the players come at you when you're there right now with them?
I give you an example. When I first got on the job, I like you said, like y'all said in introduction, I like to talk. I get myself going by talking. So first couple practices, I get out there, I feel out how it's going, and then I immediately jump right into the back and forth banter between the DBs and the receivers. And one of the guys that I was getting on was a wide receiver who was supposed to be a leader on the team, a vet, a guy that I knew we were going to lean on. So I got at him first just to see if I can get under his skin, but it turned out to be opposite. The kid gravitated towards me and started picking my brain, wanting to see, why I saw this or why I was saying certain things that I was saying, because some of the things I was saying, he was noticing that he did. So that kid turned out to be a kid in Van Jefferson, who ended up being a high draft pick, an NFL wide receiver who just had a great playoff game. But just to see little things like that, like, it makes it all worthwhile that you can just give a kid like Van a nugget or two, even though he's been raised by greatness. His dad has been there, done that, still doing that. And to see I can still be able to help and lend one or two things to a kid like that makes me see that this job is worthwhile.
You've been blessing them for a minute now, because I seen you had the Rat Pack, now you at the Gators. But I do throw this out here. You about to turn the big 4-0 in April. So what you got going on for that, man? They getting a party ready for you?
Nah, right now, with the times the way it is, I wish I could, go home and celebrate it the way that I wanted to. But, with the way it is now, I'm just going to lay low, spend time with my wife and my kids, and try to bring it in that way and pray and hold off the celebration for maybe now we're going to have to change it and do maybe 41 or 42 is the big year.
Coach, I understand that, Coach, because everybody taking the coronavirus serious, and which we should. And I know your job requires you to do that as well. So, we're going to go ahead and say congratulations and go ahead and celebrate for you right now on the phone.
I
But,
appreciate that.
right. On another note, this what I got to know. How did you end up at the University of Florida?
It was the Youngstown connection. I mean, Youngstown boys stick together, man. Like, I came out in a time where, you'd have told my name, so I ain't nothing to hide. I came out at a time where there wasn't, the social media and the internet and all those type of things. So what we had to look forward to was the Tom Lemming book every summer. His book came out, and there would be hundreds of guys from each state that they would talk about, but only a select few would get their picture on each page. So my goal as a freshman was to get my picture on a page in one of those Tom Lemming books where they did my write-up. So going into my senior year, I was blessed enough to make that. So that book just so happened to get on the desk of Bob Stoops, who so happened to be at the time the defensive coordinator at the University of Florida. And he's looking through Ohio. As you know, he's a Youngstown guy. He saw the last name. He recognized the last name. He got my coach's number out of the book, contacted my coach. My coach brought me down to the office, called me in. I didn't know nothing about Florida. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a Big Ten guy. I was going to Michigan or Penn State in my mind. So I get on the phone and I hear this coach say, hey, how you say your first name? I said, Keiwan. He said, oh, hey, how you doing, Keiwan? My name is Bob Stoops. I'm the defensive coordinator out at the University of Florida. I got a question for you. I said, yes, sir. He said, by any chance, do you know Chucky Ratliff? Are you any kin to him? I said, yes, sir. That's my father. Coach Bob Stoops said right there on the phone, he said, listen, I'm reading this article on you. I haven't seen you do anything. But if you're half as good as Chucky Ratliff, the University of Florida is going to offer you a scholarship. So then after that, that's when the recruiting began. They came and watched me play basketball, and the rest is history.
Hold up now. So you say your dad was a legend as well?
In Youngstown, he was. Yes, sir.
Okay, so give us a little insight on like far as with him playing ball and like did you know him far as like playing football? Did he show you any other ropes? Like how was that?
Well, my dad was always my coach. I got an older brother and I got a younger brother. He didn't coach my older brother and he didn't coach my younger brother. He was always my coach. So that was like a bond that me and my father shared through the game. So I didn't know my father was a football player, so to speak. I knew he played because everybody would always say, oh, you ain't as good as your dad, and would compare me my whole life. But I just knew my dad as my dad. He had 3 boys by the time he was 24 years old. And, he was in the hood raising those boys, doing the best he could. So, I didn't actually look at my dad as who I needed to go to get my football IQ and knowledge from, but that's where it came from. So as I got older, when I got to college, people would still say stuff. So I got a chance to hear some of the stories, and he still, supposedly, I don't know, because he played so long ago, he still has state records. But I know that Coach Stoops and Coach Pelini and all of the coaches that are in college coaching right now from the state of Ohio and from Youngstown all give me respect from my dad and not from my playing career. So that says a lot about the player he was.
Keiwan, this is my last question. Coach, you have done a marvelous job, had a beautiful career. Did you ever think for as just dreaming as a kid? Because we all have a dream, to go to a big time college, then go to the NFL, leaving Ohio, that you will return back as an NFL player in the state of Ohio?
Honestly, I never dreamed of playing for the Browns or the Bengals. I mean, growing up, those 2 teams weren't really that great. So naturally, those weren't going to be the teams you really rooted for. And in my mind, I wanted to get out and see the world through football. And that was a big reason why I chose to leave the state for college. So being able to get away, to grow and mature and learn myself in Florida for those years I was there, to be able to get drafted and come back home and to share it with my family was a blessing and a curse all in one that I wouldn't change for anything.
Y'all heard it right here, man. That's the director of player personnel at the University of Florida, a legend. If y'all get a chance, go look him up, man. He was amazing down there in the swamp, wearing that number 1, tearing up the scene. I love what he just said when he broke down the history with Coach Stoops. in the Youngstown connection. And I love how he's continued to progress in his life and be successful, but yet and still he's a part of the Gator Nation. He's always going to be a part of it because he's in the Hall of Fame at the University of Florida as well. And I just got to say thank you, Coach, for coming on. And to all the young players out there, this should be inspiration because he had a chance to go and do his thing in college, in the NFL, but most of all, he's putting back into the game of football in a positive way. And I'm going to leave y'all how I always leave y'all. Keep your head up and not down, or else you'll fall to the ground. It's a Life in Football podcast. Catch you next time.
You are now listening to the Life in Football podcast. Check out the new website, lifeinfootball.com. Once again, the website is lifeinfootball.com. Thanks for listening.
Press play.
try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. This is a new day to live your life. This is is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. It's life in football. We